plug my bed, they gon' hang me up, but we still surviving here. Oh, did I mention they gon' spit on me? I'm a spitting image. Put to death, but I'm still living. They lynch Christ and they Willie Lynch. It's still think he's white, but it's not written. Yeah, I used to wanna be like Mike, jump shot just like ice. Yeah, now I prophesy like Christ. Tell the reader read that twice. Yeah, crucified and he paid the price. Blood shed with the sacrifice. Redeemed the chosen, everlasting life. Ruling from a throne, call it paradise. From his image like a carbon copy. He was resurrected, no autopsy. They gon' try to kill me, but the Lord got me. He gon' beat me up like Scotty. Yeah, now that's real holy apprehension. The Holy Spirit got me rapping different, using scriptures to attract attention, like Proverbs chapter 1:7. Don't hate knowledge, son, don't neglect it. Cry loud, son, spare not. Show the Lord just what you got. I've been planting seeds like crops, trying to bear fruit, apricots. When the bombs drop, I'll be in the cherry by the time the earth feel the aftershock. I walk around like Lancelot. That means I gotta keep a sword on, because I'm always fighting off demons. If you got anointing oil, pour it on me. They gon' try to crucify me. They gon' try to do me like Christ, but I'm going out with my sword swinging. Every demon around me get sliced. They hate me cause I talk like Christ. Hate me cause I walk like Christ. Think like Christ. Hate me cause I teach like Christ. When I grow up, I just wanna be like Christ. Hate me cause I talk like Christ. Hate me cause I walk like Christ. Think like Christ. Hate me cause I teach like Christ. When I grow up, I just wanna be like Christ. Crucify me then. They gon' pluck my bed, they gon' hang me up, but we still surviving here. Oh, did I mention they gon' spit on me? I'm a spitting image. Put to death, but I'm still living. They lynch Christ and they Willie Lynch and still think he's white, but it's not written.
Oh, crap.
You see my enemy a liar, my enemy a liar. And we will bubble on fire, and we will bubble on fire. So they might kill for no reason, they kill for no reason. They might die those season, they might die those season. As I walk through the valley, young niggas dying every day. Daily, they ain't even got no daddy to say daddy. All they got is right, man. Jesus just shoot crazy. Stiff neck like a statue. Whites hate blacks, and blacks hate blacks too. Shoot, if you're black, white people will attack you, and you can still die from another black dude. It's a war breakout. The heathen trying to break out, changing all faces in the pages that they take out. I'ma tell you this, man. Image is important, cause the image of myself is the image of the Lord, man. Bring the hook again. Yeah. You see my enemy a liar. Yeah. My enemy a liar. And we will bubble on fire. And we will bubble on fire. So they might kill for no reason. They kill for no reason. Yeah. They might die those season. They won't die those season.
I had the fears of a lion, the heart of a kite. I learned from my past, so it's fire to be focused. See, my weapons are not corner, but they will leave you marked. And you won't know how it finished unless you know where it started. The underground legend, a diamond in the rough. The country I was born in, where love is not enough. See, we gathered from the scrap, and even ate from the mud. That's why in this troop, I throw punches like a barrage. And tell them no, that this is not a mirage. 12 tribes gather what they divide. Our God on our side, don't act surprised. Your liability card just got denied up. Real friends are always hard to find, yeah. Poor Jews, we always resort to robberies. In the ghettos and projects is where you find me. Yeah, we killing and killing each other promptly.
You see my enemy a liar, my enemy a liar. And we will bubble on fire, and we will bubble on fire. So they might kill for no reason, and kill for no reason. But I die do season, one die do season. Like how iron rust, them evil is a must. Them wickedness is A1+. Even with hands up, let's sit on a bus. While we still got misplaced trust, thinking these heathens must come first. When they the ones giving us maggots and pus. Another Negro bite the dust. This are them kingdom, so them are free reign. Let divide and conquer, let me make it plain. Black Hispanic natives, we are the same. They in the ones and we are the game. Tell them say, you see my enemy a liar, my enemy a liar. And they were Babylon fire, and they were Babylon fire. So them a kill for no reason, them kill for no reason. But I die do season, one die do season.
All right. Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ, blessed to you all. Welcome to Iuic 4 chapters a day. Today we are going to go over Judges chapter 5 through Judges chapter 8. Before we get started here, disclaimers. We are in online church, so that 1 Corinthians 14 still applies to you, sisters. If you do not know what that scripture means, that means be quiet. 1 Corinthians 14, and let me get it here. I think it's 33 through 34, right? Yeah, so it says, let your women keep silence in churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but that they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. So please, once I get to reading, sisters, do not go start typing away, asking questions while I'm reading. Send your questions to IUIC classrooms, brothers and sisters. Send them there. We will answer them as they come in, Lord's willing. Also, I will try to precept as I go, and I'll explain as I go as much as I can also, okay? But today, IUIC 4 chapters is Judges chapter 5 through 8, okay? So let's go ahead and start. If I got a brother to scribe for me, that would be greatly appreciated. If not, try your best to follow along. Israel, we're going to be in one book pretty much most of the time, but we will jump around some, okay? All right, so moving on here. Judges chapter 5 verse 1. It says, then sang Deborah and Barak the son of Abinoam on that day, saying, praise ye the Lord for the avenging of Israel, when the people willingly offered themselves. That's what the Most High wants. The Most High wants us to have a willing heart in all that we do, in the keeping of the commandments, in the keeping the feast days, in the praising Him. Have a willing heart. It says that also here in Exodus. We're going to go back just to precept about the willingly, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 35 and let's read verse 22. Exodus 35:22. It says here, and they came, both man and women, as many as were willing hearted, and brought bracelets and earrings and rings and tablets, all jewels of gold, and every man that offered an offering of gold unto the Lord. So this was the building of the tabernacle in the wilderness. And you see that man and women had a willing heart towards the Lord. So that's the same thing we got to have today. Let's go back to Judges chapter 5. Let's read verse 2 again. It says here, praise ye the Lord for the avenging of Israel, when the people willingly offer themselves. We got to have that same mindset of willingly offering ourselves unto the Lord. How does that happen today? How does that play out today in the 21st century? Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew to see how we willingly offer ourselves unto the Lord. Matthew chapter 10, and let's read verse 34 through 39. Let's read that. It says here, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. So Christ ain't come for peace. He came to divide, separate, right? For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. Remember, we went here to show how we can willingly offer ourselves to the Lord today. It says here, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. What does that mean? We willingly offer ourselves to the Lord by giving up whatever it might be that presents itself as an obstacle. It may be father, it may be mother, it may be husband, it may be wife, it may be children. But if you willingly offer yourself to the Lord, you will not let any of those stepping stones or stumbling blocks keep you from the Lord. You will give it all up to follow the Lord. And when it says to take up your cross, it does not mean to go and get a cross from the pawn shop or on Amazon and put it around your neck and talking about I'm a follower of Christ. This is how I show it. It's not talking about. Take up your cross is found in Galatians chapter 6, verse 5. We're going back to Judges. We're just dealing with willingly right now. So this is how you take up your cross and follow the Lord. Galatians chapter 6, verse 5. It reads, for every man shall bear his own burden. That's what it means to take up your cross and followeth after him. Some of us have different burdens, different obstacles, different tests that we have to endure in this truth. So you have to bear that, endure, pray, fast. That's what it means to take up your cross. It does not mean to go get a chain around your neck. All right. Let's go back to the book of Judges now. So we went there to show how you willingly can offer yourself now. You will give up mother, father, children, husband, drugs, money, working on the Sabbath. You give up whatever will keep you from offering yourself to the Lord. Okay. Judges chapter 5, verse 3. It says, hear, O ye kings, give ear, O ye princes. I, even I, will sing unto the Lord. I will sing praise to the Lord God of Israel. Lord, when thou wentest out of Seir, when thou marchest out of the field of Edom, the earth trembled, and the heavens dropped. The clouds also dropped water. Man, now this is future prophecy going on right here. Because this hasn't happened yet. We find that in Isaiah 63 though. The mountains melted from before the Lord, even that Sinai from before the Lord God of Israel. In the days of Shamgar, the son of Anath, in the days of Jael, the highways were unoccupied, and the travelers walked through byways. The inhabitants of the villages ceased. They ceased in Israel, until that I, Deborah, arose, a mother in Israel. They chose new gods. Then was war in the gates. Was there a shield or spear seen among 40,000 in Israel? My heart is toward the governors of Israel that offered themselves willingly among the people. Bless ye the Lord. Now I want to stop right there. This is for all the closet feminists out there that think Deborah justifies them as leading man now. It does not. Verse 9 proves it. She did not lead man into no kind of war. She was the motivating factor to men that were shaky, that were fearful during that time. But she did not put on no body armor, no breastplate like a warrior and rise up on a horse and lead the charge. She did not do all of that. All right. This is for those closet feminists that been in Christianity their whole life and love the history of Deborah because it somehow justifies them leading man. No, not at all. Let's read verse 9 again. It says, my heart is toward the governors, which translate is with the governors of Israel, the leaders of Israel that offered themselves willingly among the people. Bless ye the Lord. Okay, so this is letting you know. Now I'm gonna go back to we rehashing in the law how this does not mean she was ruling over man and things of that nature. Numbers chapter 27. Let's go to Numbers chapter 27, and we're going to read 15 through 17. Numbers 27 verse 15 says, and Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, set a man over the congregation, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And verse 18, the Lord responded in total agreement with what Moses was speaking. And the Lord said unto Moses, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay thy hand upon him. So the Lord set a man over the congregation. Deborah became a mother, a guiding light, a motivator, due to the lack of what you would call scruples for the man of Israel. All right, but those days are long gone. All right, and it didn't change. All right, it did not change in the New Testament. First Timothy chapter, where I want to go. First Timothy chapter 2. First Timothy chapter 2, and let's read verse 11 and 12. It says, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So that lets you know that this whole thing about Deborah rising up and leading, that was just she was a motivator during the time of the man was fearful of heart. She was not leading man into battle. Get that out of your mind, you closet feminists. You fall in line. All right, back to Judges. Judges chapter 5, and we're going to read verse 7 through 9 again. I want to reiterate it for you. It says here, the inhabitants of the villages ceased. They ceased in Israel until that I, Deborah, arose, that I arose a mother in Israel. They chose new gods. Then was war in the gates. Was there a shield or spear seen among 40,000 in Israel? My heart is toward the governors of Israel that offered themselves willingly among the people. Bless ye the Lord. Speak ye that ride on white asses, ye that sit in judgment and walk by the way. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. That's what we're doing now. We are in the place where we are drawing water, right? And the arrows will be shot. Give me that in Baruch. I'm talking about give me that. I'm talking to myself. Baruch. Let's go to Baruch. How about that? All right, let's go to the book of Baruch, chapter 3, and let's read verse 8. Let's read that. Yep. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject unto payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers which departed from the Lord our God. Hear, hear Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand wisdom. So we are in the places of drawing water where we are subject to payments. We have to obey the laws of the land. We have to be up under the hand of our oppressor because of the sins that we have committed. We just have to endure and exercise faith in these last days and the keeping of the commandments until Christ redeems us. All right. Going back to Judges chapter 5, verse 12. Awake, awake, Deborah, awake, awake, utter a song, arise, Barak, and lead thy captivity captive, thou son of Abinoam. Then he made him that remaineth have dominion over the nobles among the people. The Lord made me have dominion over the mighty. Out of Ephraim was there a root of them against Amalek. After thee, Benjamin, among thy people, out of Machir came down governors, and out of Zebulun they that handled the pen of the writer, and the princes of Issachar were with Deborah, even Issachar, and also Barak. He was sent on foot into the valley. For the divisions of Reuben there were great thoughts of heart. They were second guessing themselves, right? Why abodest thou among the sheepfolds to hear the bleatings of the flocks? For the divisions of Reuben there were great searchings of heart. Gilead abode beyond Jordan. And why did Dan, Manasseh lives in Gilead, right? Also with Reuben and Gad. It says Gilead abode beyond Jordan. And why did Dan remain in ships? Asher continued on the seashore and abode in his breaches. So she's basically getting on Northern Kingdom right now. Zebulun and Naphtali were a people that jeoparded their lives unto the death in the high places of the field. It says the kings came and fought. Then fought the kings of Canaan in Taanach by the waters of Megiddo. They took no gain of money. They fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. Sisera is Syria. It says the river of Kishon swept them away. That ancient river, the river Kishon. O my soul, thou hast trodden down strength. Then were the horse hoofs broken by the means of the prancings, and the prancings of their mighty ones. Curse ye morals, said the angel of the Lord. Curse ye bitterly the inhabitants thereof, because they came not to help of the Lord, to the help of the Lord against the mighty. Blessed above women shall Jael, the wife of Heber, the Kenite, be. blessed shall she be above the women in the tent. If you remember what Jael did, Jael smite the nail through the head of the general, all right, that was searching for a man in Israel. Verse 24 again. Blessed above women shall Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, be. Blessed shall she be above women in the tent. He asked water, and she gave him milk. She brought forth butter in a lordly dish. Now she's recapping what Jael did. She put her hand to the nail, and her right hand to the workman's hammer. And with the hammer she smote Sisera. She smote off his head when she had pierced and stricken through his temples. At her feet he bowed, he fell, he lay down. At her feet he bowed, he fell, where he bowed, there where he fell down dead. What was it back in chapter 4, right? Oh yeah, Sisera is the general, not Syria. Let's see. Let me go back here. Judges chapter 4, and let's read verse 18 through 22 real quick. 18 through 22 real quick. It says, Judges chapter 4, verse 18. And Jael went out to meet Sisera and said unto him, Turn in, my Lord, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And he said unto her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk and gave him drink and covered him. Again he said unto her, Stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be, when any man doth come and inquire of thee, and say, Is there any man here? That thou shalt say, No. Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took an hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. So she sent that thing with the first poke, boom, went right through his temple, and then she kept hammering it in until it hit the ground on the other side. Damn, that was gruesome. She's bold. She got a strong stomach. Let me tell you that. Verse 22. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him and said unto him, Come, and I will show thee the man whom thou seekest. And when he came into her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temples. All right, going back to Judges chapter 5, verse 26. Judges 5 and 26, it says, She put her hand to the nail, and her right hand to the workman's hammer. And with the hammer she smote Sisera. She smote off his head when he had pierced and stricken through his temples. When she had pierced and stricken through his temples. At her feet he bowed, he fell, he lay down. At her feet he bowed, he fell. When he bowed, then he fell down dead. Hey, that's a tongue twister, ain't it? The mother of Sisera looked out at a window and cried through the lattice, Why is this chariot so long in coming? Why tarry the wheels of his chariot? So the mama was looking for him, and he ain't never coming home. Verse 29, her wise ladies answered her. Yea, she returned answer to herself. Have they not spared? Have they not divided the prey? To every man a damsel or two? To Sisera a prey of diverse colors, a prey of diverse colors of needlework, of diverse colors of needlework on both sides? Meat for the necks of them that take the spoil? So let all thine enemies perish, O Lord. But let them that love him be as the sun when he goeth forth in his might. And the land had rest 40 years. So verse 30 is the thoughts of Sisera's mother, asking why her son has not come home as of yet. Has he not conquered what he set out to do? What's taking him so long to come back? Obviously, he was dead. He lay dead in Jael's tent. All right. Chapter 6. Yeah, chapter 6. Here we go. Chapter 6, it says here, And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. That's our MO. God will deliver us, and then there we go. We got a little bit of freedom, and we go right back to wickedness. That's the same thing that goes on today, and that's why you continually see our people getting judged in the streets, being put to death by cops over and over again, being oppressed. We get relaxed. The Lord got to remind us we right back in captivity, put us right back into hard bondage, and remind us this is not our rest. Verse 1, and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel, and because of the Midianites, the children of Israel made them the dens which are in the mountains and caves and strongholds. So we hid in the mountains of Israel. We hid. Verse 3, and so it was when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. And they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth till thou come unto Gaza, and left no sustenance for Israel, neither sheep nor ox nor ass. That goes into the curses, right? Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's see here. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse. Let's see. Deuteronomy 28 verse 21. It says here, the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. That's plague, diseases, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew. And they shall pursue thee until thou perish. That blasting and that mildew go into famine. Just like we read and right here in Judges chapter 6, where the Amalekites and the Midianites and the children of the east will be from like Babylon, the Mesopotamia area. They band together and they kept coming against Israel, taking the crops. Let's go back to Judges chapter 6 and let's read verse 4. And they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth till thou come unto Gaza, and left no sustenance for Israel, neither sheep nor ox nor ass. For they came up with their cattle and their tents, and they came as grasshoppers for multitude. For both they and their camels were without number, and they entered into the land to destroy it. And Israel was greatly impoverished because of the Midianites. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. And it came to pass, when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord because the Midianites, that the Lord sent a prophet unto the children of Israel, which said unto them, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I brought you up from Egypt, and brought you forth out of the house of bondage. And I delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of all that oppressed you, and drave them out from before you, and gave you their land. And I said unto you, I am the Lord your God. Fear not the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Amorites, go back into the Hamites. If you read Genesis chapter 10, you'll see the lineage of the Amorites, the Jebusites, the Perizzites. All of them come from the lineage of Ham. That's in Genesis chapter 10, right? Verse 11, and there came an angel of the Lord, and sat under an oak which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash, the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress, to hide it from the Midianites. Let's go to that real quick. It says he set up under an oak tree, right? Go to Hebrews. Show you about those angels, right? What it says about angels. I think I seen a chariot yesterday. Happened to go by the beach, and it was a bright light out. It's the sun's up. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun's up. The moon is on its way coming out, but the sun's still up, and it's a bright light in the sky, higher than normal planes fly, because planes were flying by. And you know, planes be having that red blinking light on them to let you know they moving, right? You can see that. This one did not move at all. And it wasn't the damn North Star, because I'm on the East Coast. All right. Looking out at the ocean. Took a picture of that thing, and it was a wheel inside a wheel. I'm gonna post it on Facebook later on so y'all can see it. But it was a wheel inside of a wheel when I was able to zoom in on it. But let's see about these angels, right? Hebrews chapter 1, and let's read verse 7 to show you about these angels, how they can just be up under oak tree, be gone, whatever. We'll read more about it in this, I think. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 7, and it says, and of the angels he saith, who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire. So the angels have a spiritual body, which is a spirit made out of the fire that sits up under that throne of the heavens. They made up out of that fire. They can go and come as they please. They can change forms as they please. They can vanish in thin air. They can kill 185,000 men in a single night. They can do all of that before the sun comes up. They are powerful, right? Beyond measure. So powerful that it's going to take an hour for them to do what? To wipe this sinful kingdom off the face of the earth. So let's go to Hebrews chapter 13, and let's see where it says it at. What I want here. That's the same. Is that what I want? Hebrews 13. Let me check here. Bear with me. Okay, Hebrews chapter. I got the right one. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right one here. I got a few of them. I want to go to. Let's see. Yeah. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2. The verse I want here. Talking about angels still, right? Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2. We'll read verse 1 also. It says, let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Angels unawares, just like who? Tobias had entertained an angel and did not know that he was entertaining an angel, right? Ended up being Raphael, which he revealed to him later. But let's go back to Judges chapter 6, and let's read about this angel that appeared up under an oak tree. Judges chapter 6, and let's see, where was we at here? Verse 12. Judges chapter 6, verse 12, it says, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, the Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And a lot of us ask that question today. If the Lord be with us as his chosen people, why does all of this happen to us? Go to Hebrews chapter 12. Let's go back to that and show why all of this happens to us. And we don't see the other nations suffering the same judgments that we do. Like I forget the most recent one's name. that just got shot in the back, but I believe, if I'm looking at it right, his name was Jacob. Did I just skip all of those? Jeez. Let me look at it here. Jacob Blake was shot in the back, right? So a lot of our people question God of, if we be the people of God and the Lord be with us, why does all of this happen to us? It's for a reason. Hebrews chapter 12. And let's read verse 6 on down. It's hard to see it going through it, but this is the hand of the Lord. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. So you understand why now that these other nations have never suffered the judgments of God that we have, and continue to suffer the judgments of God, is because they are all bastards. They are not the sons. They are not the daughters of God. Therefore, the judgments of God do not pertain to them. Therefore, they do not suffer as we suffer. But the reason why we go through these things, this oppression and servitude, is because the Lord loves us and is chastening us before that great and fearful and dreadful day of the Lord. Read it on verse 9. Furthermore, we had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now, no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. And it does. It seems grievous. Hell, I'm not exempt to not going through chastisement and seeing the judgments being placed on our people and not see it as grievous. I'm right along with you. I see it as grievous too. But what does God say about that? He says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So we go through this thing now so that we can receive the righteousness of God that is to come, which is the kingdom and eternal life and everlasting joy and everlasting peace and hand servants and maid servants. We have to endure this chastisement now. That's just the cards we were dealt for the sins that we committed. It is what it is. And there is no changing the breaking of the scripture. It is what it is. We have to endure it. But it's all because the Lord loves us. This is a spiritual whooping. And we've been going through it for thousands of years. On the better half now of 400 years. And counting. All right, going back to Judges now. Judges chapter 6. And let's read verse 13 again. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord hath forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. Man, this sounds so familiar like today, especially if you hit the streets teaching. You understand it's the same thought our people got, that God has forsaken us. But actually, we have forsaken God. Where's that precept? Let me get the precept in Jeremiah. Let's see. Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 31. Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 31. It says, O generation, see ye the word of the Lord. Have I been a wilderness unto Israel, a land of darkness? He said, am I not able to be found? Am I not right here in front of you? Don't you see me? It's in a land of wilderness where it's just barren and nothing's in front of you. It's not a land of darkness where you can't see me. It says, wherefore say my people, we are lords, we will come no more unto thee. That's us. That's what we say to God in the spirit. When we choose Christianity, you choose Islam, you refuse to keep the commandments, um, you smoke drugs, you overdrink, you are a whoremonger, you are a whore, you show off your body parts, whatever it might be, selling drugs one to another. You say, we God. I don't need him. I won't come unto him no more. It's actually us that have forsaken God, not him that has forsaken us. Jump up to verse 13. It says, for my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. What's the water? It's the word. So what's those cisterns we hewed out? Religion. We have hewed out religion. Christianity is for us, for black people. Islam is the black man's religion. We forsook God, and we place our faith in religion. And now the new religion, you know what the new religion for black people is? Politics. Lord's will, life lasts. We're going to go into that tomorrow on Four Corners. The new religion for black people now that they not into Christianity, they may not be into Islam, the new religion is voting. And that's been the white man's religion since the Greeks. But we forsook God. Now let's go back to Judges. Going back to Judges chapter 6, verse 14 now. Judges chapter 6, verse 14. It says, and the Lord looked upon him and said, go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? And he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. All right. It says, precept. I got to precept it. 1 Corinthians. It don't matter whether you're rich, you're poor, middle class. None of that matters to the Most High. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 1, and let's read that. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 26. It says here, for ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, and base things of the world, and things which are despised hath God chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. So God chose the lowest of us. He's not worried about your prestige here on earth, what title you might have. Go to the book of James. Let's go to the book of James, and we are going to read James chapter 2, and we're going to read verse 5. When it comes to the calling of the Lord, you can call who you want to. James chapter 2, verse 5. Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not God chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him. So the Lord chooses who he will. It don't matter about how much money you got or your status. None of that matters to the Lord. What you look like, how tall you are, none of that matters. Give me that Luke 16 and verse 15, and let's see what Christ says about that. Luke chapter 16 verse 15, when it comes to about your titles and wealth and things of that nature. Don't matter. Luke chapter 16 verse 15. It says, and he said unto them, ye are they which justify yourselves before man, but God knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among man is abomination in the sight of God. So you could be the president, you could be the mayor, you could be a general in the army. None of that stuff matters. You could be the highest paid grossing rapper. You could be the leading scorer in the NBA. You could write 50 books and they could all be bestsellers. All that stuff that man holds in the sight of God as high esteem, God says it is abomination to me. Here's another precept for it. Go to Isaiah chapter 49. The book of Isaiah chapter 49. And let's read verse 5. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 5. It says, and now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my God shall be my strength. So that's the highest calling you can ever have. To go out and teach the word of God and to compel the lost sheep of the house of Israel to come in. That's the highest honor that anyone can have on the face of the earth. There's nothing like it at all. So don't think less of yourself because you don't have as much money. Your name ain't out there with prestige and honor. We ain't on TV. And they might call us the hate group, this, that, or the other. That don't matter. We got the highest calling that you could ever have on the face of the earth. Let me get another script here. We got time. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel, and let's see. Chapter 16 and verse 6. 1 Samuel chapter 16, and we read in verse 6. We're going into that Manasseh thinking less of himself because he said, I'm poor and I'm of Manasseh. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 6. It says, and it came to pass when they were come. This is talking about David, right? It says, and it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. He said, look, that dude has got to be the one. Look at he's tall, he's big, he's strong. He's the man of the Lord. Look, he got an Aaron beard. He got locks like Samson. He's well put. He's built like LeBron James. That dude is somebody that the people would follow. Let's see what God says about that. Verse 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. The Lord is looking on what's on the inside, what's in the spirit. He ain't looking at the physical. You might not. So for all you short brothers, you could be great leaders. All right. So let's go back to Judges. Judges chapter 6, and let's read verse 15 again. Let's read that mindset that Gideon had, that we all got to overcome. Right. I was in 1 Samuel 16 and 6 and 7. Judges now, chapter 6, verse 15. Let's read verse 14 with it. It says, and the Lord looked upon him and said, go in this thy might, that thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? And he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. Dang, Manasseh got a defeated mentality. Not Manasseh, but Gideon. He had a defeated mentality. We got to overcome that ourselves too. We got to overcome that and understand that we were all called for a reason, to put a brick in to bring the kingdom. As I tell brothers here in Miami very often, we are in a large metropolitan area, cities, many cities, and Miami's the biggest, but there's many cities around South Florida. The laborers are few and the harvest is plenty. The Lord called you for a reason, to draw in that harvest that is plenty. You sisters, the Lord called you to support the laborers of the Lord, to make their job in this battle, this war, this long war we got to endure easier, as a help to the soldiers, to the troops. All right? A helper, not a stressor. Judges now, Judges 16:16. And the Lord said unto him, surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. And depart not hence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee, and bring forth my present, and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come again. Gideon had to make sure he wasn't talking to himself. Like, give me a sign. Give me a sign that I ain't talking to myself, Lord. Like, I gotta double check this, because I'm the least in the house and a poor. Show me a sign that you're talking to me, Lord. Verse 19. And Gideon went in and made ready a kid and 11 cakes of an ephah of flour. The flesh he put in a basket, and he put the broth in a pot, and brought it out unto him under the oak, and presented it. And the angel of God said unto him, take the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and lay them upon this rock, and pour out the broth. And he did so. Then the angel of the Lord put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand, and touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and there rose up fire out of the rock, and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Then the angel of the Lord departed out of his sight. Gone, just like that. That's cold-blooded. The angel made fire come up out the rock. I'm telling you, when the Lord, the number is fulfilled, there ain't a chance that Esau has. It is over. The fire came out of rock. Hey, and for all my grilling brothers out there, it wasn't no damn King's lighter fluid created on the earth. What no lighter fluid? What no sprinkling of the rock? You know how you sprinkle the coals? No, wasn't none of that. King's lighter fluid wasn't on the earth, man. This is next level. What we read right here. He made fire come up out the rock and consumed it, and he's gone right before his eyes. That's why I read in Hebrews chapter 1, so we can understand. He said he make his angels, they are ministers and they are fire. The angels are made out of a different kind of fire. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. There's another precept on it. Right? 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. And we're going to read verse 40. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 40. There are also celestial bodies, that's heavenly, heavenly bodies, and bodies terrestrial, that's earthly, made out of ground. That's why we got iron and zinc and all that stuff is in our body. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. That's why the angels can disappear. That's why the angels are all around us right now as we speak, listening, recording. And they are right here beside us, and we have no idea because they have a celestial body. Disappear when they want to. Show you, they can show you that they're around out the corner of their eye, out the corner of your eye. That's why you be seeing, you be like, oh, you turn around like, oh, dang, what was that? The hell was that I just saw? I know I saw a shadow or something over here. That be your angel. He watching you. Just so you let you know. Hey, yeah, I'm watching you. Yep, I'm back here. I'm recording that. Yep. Just to let you know, I was there. What is that in Matthew? Let's go to Matthew to show you about the angels. Right? Matthew chapter 18 verse 10. The book of Matthew chapter 18 verse 10. Christ spoke on the angels. It says, take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. That means those that have repented, are born again, babes. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Their angels, every one of us got a guardian protective angel that is assigned to minister unto us, to guide us in the way that the Lord wants our life to be. And they slowly nudge. And if you ever seen the movie called I forget the name, it got Matt Damon in it. What's that movie, y'all? What's it called? What is that movie called? The Report? It's called The Report or something. It got Matt Damon in it, and the angels guide him in the way that the Lord wants him to go. Now they know they got that out of the Bible, but it's something. It's The Report, something. Whatever y'all find it, let me know. All right, moving on here. Judges chapter 6. We're gonna read verse 21 again. Judges chapter 6, verse 21. Then the angel of the Lord put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand, and touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and there rose up fire out of the rock, and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Then the angel of the Lord departed out of his sight. Nah, that ain't it, sis. That's not Minority Report. It's something else. It got Matt Damon. Minority Report got Tom Cruise. The Bureau Report. That's what it's called. The Bureau Report. If you haven't seen that movie, I would advise you to go watch it and watch it with spiritual eyes when it comes to the angels. It's called The Bureau Report. They guide him through his whole, let me see. The Adjustment Bureau. That's what it's called. The Adjustment Bureau. That's what it's called. The Adjustment Bureau. And through the movie, they are adjusting his life in the way that it's supposed to go according to what the Lord has written for him. All right. Came out in about 2011. and it deals with how the angels guide you and move you in certain ways. All right. I just posted it. So, yeah. So let's move on here. All right. Verse 22. It says, and then Gideon perceived that he was an angel of the Lord. Gideon said, alas, O Lord God, for because I have seen an angel of the Lord face to face. And the Lord said unto him, peace be unto thee. Fear not, thou shalt not die. Then Gideon built an altar there unto the Lord and called it Jehovah Shalom. Unto this day it is yet in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. And it says, verse 25, for Jehovah Shalom, it says, the Lord is peace for those that may not have it. All right. The Lord is peace. No, it's not on Netflix. You got to stream that one with whatever streaming service you use. All right. Moving on here. Verse 25. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the grove that is by it, and build an altar unto the Lord thy God upon the top of his rock, in the ordered place, and take the second bullock and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove, which thou shalt cut down. Now listen, look at this, y'all. Check this out. Even before the split of Israel, the 12 tribes of northern kingdom going to the north and southern kingdom, they're not dealing with each other. Even before this, you see the remnants of northern kingdom dealing with Baal. That's why it was when you read it in First Kings about Jeroboam placing the golden calves, saying these are thy gods, it was an easy transition for them. It was an easy one because they've been dabbling with Baal before the split even happened. Right? Moving on here. It says in verse 25 again, and it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the grove that is by it, and build an altar unto the Lord thy God upon the top of this rock, in the ordered place, and take the second bullock and offer a burnt sacrifice in the wood of the grove which thou shalt cut down. Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the man of the city, that he could not do it by day, that he did it by night. So even before the split, northern kingdom had a strong ties to worshiping Baal. But at the same time, they still worship the Lord in somewhat fashion. But he had Gideon had to tear down the grove at night, because if they saw him during the day, they would have came out and killed him, because they worshiped that idol. Verse 28. And when the man of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it. And the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built. And they said one to another, who hath done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, have done this thing. So obviously, although he was trying to creep during the night, somebody saw him. Somebody peeping out their window saw him tearing down the altar. It was like, oh, I'm going to tell on you. He was doing the right thing, but you know, Israel, we wicked. Moving on here. It says, verse 30. Then the men of the city said unto Joash, bring out thy son that he may die, because he hath cast down the altar of Baal, because he hath cut down the grove that was by it. Grove is like is a stump. It's a tree stump that they would carve out and make it to look like a certain god, and then they would worship that particular god idol. All right. Uh, is there an image on that I can show you? I can't. I don't waste time. I ain't got time. All right. So moving on here in verse 31. And Joash said unto all that stood against him, will ye plead for Baal? Will ye save him? Let him be put to death whilst it's yet morning. If he be a god, let him plead for himself, because one hath cast down his altar. So Joash is standing up and saying, what? If he be a god, he would stand up for himself. He wouldn't have let Gideon do that. Obviously, he's not a god. He's an idol. Obviously, it's an idol. Right? Moving on here. It says, verse 32, therefore, on that day, he called him Jerubbaal. Jerubbaal. So he changed his name. We say Jerubbaal, but it's Jerubbaal. All right. Saying, let Baal plead against him, because he hath thrown down his altar. Then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were gathered together and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon. He blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher and to Zebulun and unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet him. All right, so Manasseh, Zebulun, Naphtali, they coming out. They ready to throw down. Because they warriors. Don't get it twisted. They warriors. You see how Zebulun and Naphtali, which is in the South Americas right now, you see how they get down. Asher being Brazil, they fight. Oh, they kill you. Right now, it's just turned that warrior spirit and mentality is just turned on each other right now. But the Lord gonna correct it. The Lord gonna get it together. It says here, verse 36, and Gideon said unto God, if thou would save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wouldst save Israel by my hand, as thou hast said. And it was so, for he rose up early on the morning, and thrust the fleece together, and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. So you got to understand right now what's going on. You got to understand the Lord made the dew, because the dew is that you come out early in the morning, you can feel you got that dew on your window, right? You got that dew on your window from the temperature kind of dropping. You would call it condensation now today to make it easy to understood. But the dew that fall throughout the night fell in one spot on the fleece, and it's completely dry around it. The dew covers all the ground. You read scriptures where it says the dew shall cover the earth. But the Lord made it fall in one spot. The Lord could do all those things. Like he made with Aaron's rod. He made almonds come out of it overnight. Even dealing with Hezekiah, he made the time go back on the sundial. God can do whatever he wants to. Infinite power. Verse 38. And it was so, for he rose up early on the morning and thrust the fleece together and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. And Gideon said unto God, let not thine anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece. Let it not be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew. So now he said, okay, don't, Lord, I'm not doubting you, but just to make sure I ain't crazy, is what Gideon said. Just to make sure I ain't crazy, flip it now. Make the dew go all around the fleece and not touch it. Not touch the fleece, but let it be all around the ground, and then I know for sure I ain't crazy. And let's read verse 40. It says, and God did so that night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground. That's heavy. That's heavy. The Lord don't do that. He don't give us signs. I'm gonna let you know that now. He don't give us signs like that no more. So don't ask for it. Don't ask for those signs no more. He don't give them to us. This is a by faith. Now, that's the walk we got. Is by faith. He ain't doing signs for us no more, because we gave us all the signs back in the day. Hell, he split the Red Sea. We became rebellious. All of that. So don't look for no signs no more. It's all the script. Christ expounded on it, and he said, an evil and adulterous generation seeketh a sign. Now, this walk that we in now is about faith. All right. Judges chapter 7. We got 2 more chapters. I gotta move on. Judges chapter 7. Then Jerubbaal, who's Gideon, Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them, by the hill of Moreh, in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites unto their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand hath saved me. That's Israel. That is Israel. Look at what we did. Look what I did. And it can't be like that. Where's that at? Let me think here. Deuteronomy. It is in Deuteronomy that the Lord said that to us. Again, Deuteronomy chapter 8. And let's read verse 11. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 11. It says, beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. Now we're going to jump down to verse 14. Then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions, and drought, where there was no water. Who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee to do thee good at thy latter end. And thou say in thine heart, my power and the might of mine hand hath gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day. So when we're dealing with Gideon, the Lord had to say, no, you got too many with you. I know how Israel is. I delivered them from Egypt. I told them, don't get too high on yourself to think that it's you, by your power you do all this stuff, because you are connected to me. Your whole life, your rulership depends on me. But Israel don't listen. So he told Gideon, he said, "Oh no, no, you got too many. I know how Israel think. I know how they are. They are the most gifted and special people on the face of the earth. I know they are gods upon the earth, and I know if the numbers are in their favor, they're gonna be like, I did that. That was me. That's why God always lowered the numbers going into battle. And it's going to be the same thing coming again. It's going to be few numbers going into battle against the nations when that time comes. So we know that it was by the Lord's strength that we overcame our enemies. Right? Going back to Judges chapter 7, and we're going to read verse 2. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, mine own hand hath saved me. Now therefore go to, proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000. So 22,000 of them bounced. 32,000 in total. 22,000 got a little bit of fear in their heart. They bounced, went back to where they came from in Gilead. See if we can get a map. Gilead, Israel map. Let me pull it up for you. I just want you to have a mental picture of what we talking about. Let me see if this works. Y'all bear with me. Bear with me here. Let me see. Okay, so that ain't gonna work. Let's see if I can save link. Oh, okay. All right. Let's see what this look like. Okay. All right. So if you click on that, you'll see where Gilead is. Gilead is northeast of Israel. All right. So that's where we talking about. This is where this is taking a place at, in this area. And the Lord, going back now, we're going back to Judges chapter 7, verse 4. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down into the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, this shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee. And of whosoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. So hey, with that, what can we learn from that? Verse 4. Verse 4, you got to be willing to let go of some people that the Lord said they can't go with you. They where I'm taking you, what I'm about to do, they can't go with you. Some people you got to cut off in your life. They're not going to be beneficial to the war that you got to fight. The battle that's ahead of you, they're not beneficial to you. You got to let them go. The Lord said, I'm a move them out the way for you, and you got to be ready to let them go. That's the same thing that the Lord said to Abraham when he said in Genesis 12:1, get thee up away from thy kindred. Like I got, and I will bless you. It's some things I got to do for you. So you got to be willing to let go. And that's what Christ said in Matthew 10:2 about he came to divide. He came to separate people, father, mother, husband, wife, daughter, family. He came to separate them. All right. So let that ring in your mind. You got to be willing to let go of some people for the battle ahead. Verse 5. So he brought down the people unto the water. And the Lord said unto Gideon, everyone that lappeth up the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knees to drink. And the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. So you had some people that scooped the water up, and you had some people that bowed down. to drink from the water like that. He's like, nah, you got to cut them off. You got to cut them off because them ain't going to be no good for you. They're going to hinder you in the battle. Verse 7, and the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go, every man unto his place. So the people took victuals in their hand, and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, every man unto his tent, and retained those 300 men, and the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley. So now you know where the movie 300 came from. They got it from our ancestors, Gideon. They got it from him. That's why we the most famous people on the earth. They take all of what we do, all of our history, and make it entertainment. That's what they do. So you see, that's the poster, the 300 poster. They got it from us right there. And it, well, let me see. Got time. Okay, I'm gonna just read. I'll pull it if I can at the end. All right, it says here, verse 9, and it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, arise, get thee down unto the host, for I have delivered it into thy hand. But if thou fear to go down, go thou with Phurah, the PH, Phurah, thy servant down to the host, and thou shalt hear what they say, and afterward shall thine hands be strengthened to go down unto the host. Then went he down with Phurah, his servant, unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host, and the Midianites, and the Amalekites, and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers for multitudes, and their camels were without number, as the sand by the seaside for multitude. And when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow, and said, behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of Midian, and came unto a tent, and smote it that it fell, and overturned it, that the tent lay along. And his fellow answered and said, this is nothing else save the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. For into his hand hath God delivered Midian and all the host. So the Lord sent him down there so he can hear that what the Lord had put in the mind of the enemy, so he can hear that and be valiant and strong in the battle that he was about to take on, so he wouldn't have any doubt. Verse 15, and it was so when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel and said, arise, for the Lord hath delivered into your hand the host of Midian. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand, with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers. And he said unto them, look on me and do likewise. Basically, pay attention, listen up. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall ye do. When I blow with a trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. Now let's go to Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9. Numbers chapter 10 verse 9 about those trumpets. Because what do we got coming up? We've got memorial of trumpets coming up. This is the history of them. Deep about those trumpets. They ain't just to carry around and look good on thumbnails. You be seeing those captains have them on our shoulders for thumbnails, and brother, they ain't just for looks. There's some meaning behind those trumpets, those shofars that we blow. Numbers chapter 10 verse 9. And if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, like the Midianites and the Amalekites were doing, and all the children of the east, which would be like Mesopotamia, over there, Babylon, right? Assyria, those areas. It says, if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. That's why we got to start. We got to blow them trumpets when we go to camp. Judges chapter 7. We're going back to it. Judges chapter 7. And we're going to read verse 18. When I blow with the trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him, because it said he split them up into 3 companies. So now we know how many which was in each company. It was 100 in each one. Got to picture this in your mind. We're going to war. He got, I ain't gonna have time to get to it, but I might. I don't know. Depends on the Lord. But we got 100 going to the left, flanking to the left. We got 100 going down the middle. We got another 100 flanking to the right. All right. Picture this. We're going to war right now. All right. Picture. All right. So, verse 19. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And they had but newly set the watch. And they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. So what is he talking about? They had newly set the watch. The enemies, they had changed out the people. Because remember, at war, you always got watchmen. And they have, you watch the movies, maybe even like Game of Thrones. But like, you take first watch. You take second watch. I'll take the third watch. So in between them switching out the watchmen, Gideon blew the horn. Right? And they broke the pitchers that was in their hands. Verse 20. And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers and held the lamps in their left hands and the trumpets in their right hands to blow withal. And they cried, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. And they stood every man in his place round about the camp, and all the host ran and cried and fled. So they scared the hell out of the Midianites and the Amalekites. Scared them, and they took off. Remember, you only got 300. They got thousands, so you got to do something to mess with their mind. So them horns, when they all blown in unison, put fear in the nations. Verse 22, and the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow, even throughout all the host. And the host fled to Beth Shittah and in Zeroth, and to the border of Abel Meholah, unto Tabath. And the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali, and out of Asher, and out of Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim, saying, come down against the Midianites, and take before them the waters unto Betharah and Jordan. Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together, and took the waters unto Bethbarah and Jordan. Ephraim, stand up. We need you to get this spirit back, Ephraim. Get this spirit back, man. Come join your brothers in war. Judah's calling you right now. It ain't Manasseh. Judah calling you to come out to war. Come on out there, Ephraim. We need you. That's you so-called Hispanics, for those that might, you Puerto Ricans that may not know. You are Ephraim. All right. Verse 25. And they took 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb. And they slew Oreb upon the rock of Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan, Jordan. And the man, I was going to read Judges chapter 8. Well, what's my chapters today to make sure I don't go over? It's 5 through 8, right? Okay. Make sure I don't go over. All right. We're in Judges chapter 8 now. Judges chapter 8, verse 1. It says, and the man of Ephraim said unto him, why hast thou served us thus? Look what Ephraim, now Ephraim got an attitude. Ephraim got an attitude because they got called late to the battle. Judge chapter 8, verse 1. And the man of Ephraim said unto him, why hast thou served us thus, that thou callest us not, when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites? And they did chide him with him sharply, like, hey, bro, Gideon, you out the spirit. Manasseh, y'all out the spirit. Why didn't y'all call us when the battle was first about to go down? Well, just a few chapters ago, Ephraim, you wasn't in your right mind when Deborah had to call you out. That's why you wasn't called to the battle. You wasn't in your right mind. Don't make us go back and rehash the history. You wasn't in your right mind. So Ephraim got an attitude. Like, hey man, you didn't call us. We wanted some of that. We wanted some of that ass kicking in the beginning too. Don't leave us out like it no more. Ephraim said they chid with him sharply, going back and forth. Like, hey man, you better check yourself. When you go to war, call us, man. In the beginning. All right, verse 2. He said unto them, what have I done now in comparison of you? Is not the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abiezer? God hath delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. And what was I able to do in comparison of you? Then their anger was abated toward him when he had said that. He'd be like, hey man, I gave you the best possible situation you could possibly have going to war. We did our due diligence in the beginning. We fed them right into you. They didn't have nowhere to go. They was trapped, and you destroyed them. Just relax, Ephraim. That's what Gideon said. Verse 4. And Gideon came to Jordan and passed over, he and the 300 men that were with him, faint, yet pursuing them. And he said unto the man of Succoth, give, I pray you, loaves of bread unto the people that follow me, for they be faint, and I am pursuing after Zabah and Zalmunna, kings of Midian. And the princes of Succoth said, are the hands of Zabah and Zalmunna now in thine hand, that we should give bread unto thine army? So they like, hey, have you truly conquered them? Because they might come against us if we help you. So we try to play the neutral ground. Is the man of Succoth is trying to do. Verse 7. And Gideon said, therefore, when the Lord hath delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into my hand, then will I tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with briars. And he went up thence to Penuel and spake unto them likewise. And the man of Penuel answered him as the man of Succoth had answered him. And he spake also unto the man of Penuel, saying, when I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Now Zabah and Zalmunna were in Kakor, and their hosts with them, about 15,000 men. So we got 300 against 15,000. You remember the movie 300? You see where it was Artaxerxes in that Xerxes the first, in that he had thousands of men coming against those 300. Now you see they just read all the history of Gideon and formulated a Greek story around it. And even with that, hell, the 300 were Israelites. Where's the book? Let me show you. What's this? Frank Miller, the 300. Y'all remember this? Let's show you. The 300 was Israelites, was the northern kingdom. Let's see if I can find it. I hope you can see that. Look how he drew them. Greeks ain't walking around with braids. What Greeks you know walk around like that? With locks. He drew them how they supposed to be drawn. See the locks? Let me see if I can find another one. And look at this. This is how we know that he was drawing black people. Because look at the color. Because he know that the Persians, they know they brown people. And look at the hair he gave the Persian. The same exact hair he gave those 300. Let me see. I think that's it. Last one. Look at that. He knew what he was doing. Those 300 was Israelites. All right. Back to it. All right. Judges chapter 8 and verse 10. Judges chapter 8 verse 10. Now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Karkor, and their hosts with them about 15,000 men, and that were left of all the host of the children of the east. For there fell 122,000 men that drew the sword. Goodness gracious. 122,000 against the 300. You know God was with them. And Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in tents on the east of Nebo and Jogbehah, and smote the host, for the host was secure. And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled and pursued after them, and took the two kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomfited all the host. And Gideon the son of Joash returned from battle before the sun was up, and caught a young man of the man of Succoth, and inquired of him, and he described unto him the princes of Succoth, and the elders thereof, even 317 men. So now he's going back on Succoth. He's like, I told you, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And he came unto the man of Succoth, and said, Behold, Zebah and Zalmunna, with whom ye did upbraid me, saying, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thy hand, that we should give bread unto thy man that are weary? So Gideon and them had to go and finish off the destruction of the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east on a damn empty stomach. Oh, you know they was mad. You know they was mad with an empty stomach. It says, verse 16, he took the elders of the city and thorns of the wilderness and briars, and with them he taught the man of Succoth. What do you mean he taught? He taught them, when we come through and we ask you for something, you better do what we say. Give us what we want. And he beat down the tower of Penuel and slew the man of the city. Then said he unto Zebah and Zalmunna, What manner of man were there whom ye slew at Tabor? And they answered, As thou art, so were they. Each one resembled the children of the kings. And they was powerful, man. They was like you, Gideon. And he said, They were my brethren, even the sons of my mother. As the Lord liveth, if ye had saved them alive, I would not slay you. And he said unto Jether, his firstborn, Up and slay them. But the youth drew not his sword, for he feared, because he was yet a youth. So Gideon took his son to war, tried to teach him a little something about war, and his son's a little frightful. You know, he's young. We all been through that. When you get the little nudge from the pops, go on, do it, and you be all nervous and stuff. The son was nervous. That's understandable. He was young, but you see Gideon being a father to him, teaching him in the ways that he must walk. Though he's doing Proverbs 22:6, the same thing that we men got to do: teach our young man how to walk in the ways of the Lord. Right? Verse 21. Then Zabah and Zalmunna said, Rise thou, and fall upon us. They talking to Gideon. For as the man is, so is his strength. So he said, this little boy, you know he can't kill us. He ain't even strong enough to slay us with that sword. You're going to make us suffer. Kill us quick. You're going to kill us. It says, and Gideon arose and slew Zabah and Zalmunna, and took away the ornaments that were on their camels' necks. Then the men of Israel said unto Gideon, Rule thou over us, both thou and thy son's son also. For thou hast delivered us from the hand of Midian. Israel has always needed a leader. Why? Because we are lost sheep. We need somebody to guide us in the way that we must go, or we will wander off the path of righteousness. It's always been that way. You see it playing out with Gideon right here again. Verse 23, and Gideon said unto them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my son rule over you. The Lord shall rule over you. The Lord shall rule over you. Right? That's what that. You read. We'll read that in the further chapter about the judges and things. Right? It says here, and Gideon said unto them, I would desire a request of you, that ye would give me every man the earrings of his prey. All right, Gideon wants some money. For they had golden earrings, because they were Ishmaelites. It says, and they answered, we will willingly give them. And they spread a garment, and did cast therein every man the earrings of his prey. And the weight of his golden earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, beside ornaments and collars and purple raiment that was on the kings of Midian, and beside the chains that were about their camels' necks. And Gideon made an ephod thereof, and put it in his city, even in Ophrah. And all Israel went thither a whoring after it, which thing became a snare unto Gideon and to his house. That money is the root of all evil. Verse 28, thus was Midian subdued before the children of Israel, so that they lifted up their heads no more. And the country was in quietness 40 years in the days of Gideon. And Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, went and dwelt in his house, in his own house. And Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many wives. And his concubine that was in Shechem, she also bare him a son, whose name he called Abimelech. And Gideon, the son of Joash, died in a good old age, and was buried in the sepulchre of Joash, his father, in Ophrah of the Abizarites. And it came to pass, as soon as Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel turned again, and went a whoring after Baalim, and made Baal-berith their god. And the children of Israel remembered not the Lord their God, who had delivered them out of the hands of all their enemies on every side. Neither showed they kindness to the house of Jerubbaal, namely Gideon, according to all the goodness which he has showed unto Israel. Let's go to Maccabees real quick. I want to read about how the Lord doesn't care about numbers. Let's go to First Maccabees. Let's see. Yep, First Maccabees chapter 3. Let's read this real quick, and then we'll call it a day. First Maccabees chapter 3, and we're going to read 16 through 23. So we got a little time here, got a few minutes. It says here, it's the same thing that happened with Gideon, right? It says, and when he came near to the going up of Beth Horon, Judas went forth to meet him with a small company, who, when they saw the host coming to meet them, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude, and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day? Unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few. That's what we just read the history of in Gideon. It was many. It was over 100,000 fighting against 300. Unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few, and with the God of heaven it is all one, to deliver with a great multitude or a small company. For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven. They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us, and our wives and children, and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our laws. Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. Now as soon as he left off speaking, he leapt suddenly upon them. So I read that to sum up the history of Gideon, who's also named Jerubbaal, that the victory does not come in the strength of numbers, in the in how many guns you got, how many bullets you got. That's not where it comes from. The strength and the battle, the victory of the battle comes from the Lord. That's why we got to trust in the Lord with all our heart and endure to the end, keeping these commandments until the return of our King of Kings. Okay. So with that, we're going to end it. This has been IUIC 4 chapters, Judges chapter 5 through 8. As I said before, if you got questions, send them to IUIC classrooms in a message, and we will answer those questions as they come in, as best we can. If it's a foolish question, we'll ignore it. But if it's a legit question, we will answer it the best we can as captains that check the page throughout the week, okay? All right, Israel. So with that, I've been Captain Zakar. Shalom.